y'all can see that. That is a sneak peek into my February wrap-up books. I'm too lazy to move it, so it's gonna be on the screen for the entirety of this TBR. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Vivian, and in today's video we are doing our March TBR. And if you guys have watched a few of my TBR videos, you'll know that I do the TBR jar method. Here is my TBR cart, and we're gonna be picking 8 books. And I have very exciting news. I'm very proud of myself. I read 6 out of the 7 books that are on my February TBR. The only one I didn't read is Baybound over here. I just didn't have time to read it. If I had time in this month of February, I would have picked it up, but I just didn't have the time, and so I didn't read it. But I'm so proud of myself. Taking my jar right now. We have my jar. These are my prompts, and let's just get started. We'll be picking 8 books, and my goal is to pick books that have been on my TBR card for a very long time. And if you guys can see, I also don't have a lot of romance books. I haven't been in a romance kick, and so I don't have a lot of options for romance. I'm gonna pick my first prompt. Every single time I do this, I'm always so excited. What is this? A book I started but never finished. I think this is a pretty good prompt. This book I stopped at chapter 3. So I have a bookmark in here. I read 18 pages and I stopped because the book was pretty heavy with the world building, and at that time I didn't want something that was very complicated with the world building. So I'm gonna pick Faybound again because I am really excited to read this. I do want to get into it, so I'm gonna put this in my March TBR with hopes that I will read it in this month of March. If you guys do not know this book, this is a sapphic fantasy romance book. I don't know about the romance part. I think it's more fantasy than romance, but this is about Faye. We follow Erin, who is the commander of the Elven army. And one day something happens to her and she gets kicked out and exiled from the Elven lands. She then ends up going into the Fae lands, and in this world the Fae people are very brutal, very cruel. From what I read so far, at least that's what I know. But I haven't read a lot yet, so I don't really know much about the book. And this is a part of a trilogy. This is the first book. It was just released this year, so I'm not really too sure when the second book's coming out, but yeah. We're gonna pick out my second prompt. I always do that, but I never know if it ends up getting mixed or not. Okay, I got a purple cover. This is a really good prompt because we have a lot of options, as you guys can see. I know this is purple, but we're not picking this. This is Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. It's a classic and I'm not in the mood for it. This is purple. This is the only one? Okay. This is the only option we have. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mirror. From what I can see in the viewfinder, it looks more blue than purple, but from what I can see here, it looks purple. Like a bluer purple, but like purple. Oh my gosh, the writing is tiny in this book. But since this is the only purple book we have, we're just gonna pick this. I wanted to read the Foul Lady Fortune duet, but the second book is a purple one. The first book is pink. Basically, with this story, from what I know, is that the FMC has something to do with her needing money, and so she ends up working as the assistant even though she doesn't want to. I think it's a fantasy, and I think it's a romance, and I think there are other books in this series. Yeah, we're gonna pick Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mirror. Wait a minute! This is purple, right? It's like a pinker purple, right? Oh my gosh. You know what? No, we're gonna pick Assistant to the Villain. I don't really know if I want to read this or not, so let's pick out my third prompt. 500 plus pages is the next prompt. Oh, it's not 500 pages. Long Way Down is more than 500 pages, and I think The Invisible Eye of Addie LaRue is more than 500 pages. Jade War is also 500 pages, I think. I need to think about this. If I put too much fantasy, I'm gonna burn out. I want to read this. All Roads Lead Here is also more than 500 pages, I think. Yep. This is another option. I'm thinking in between Long Way Down and All Roads Lead Here because I do want to include a romance option. Which one do I pick? Like, I do want to read this one, but there's a part of me that's like really scared because it's like technically the last book in the Addicted series. There's an epilogue novel after this one, but I don't want to end this book because I'm probably gonna cry reading this. But I know I'll read it this month. Like, I know I always read an Addicted book every month, and last month, which is the month of February, I read Fuel the Fire. So I want to read this one too. I'm gonna pick Long Way Down by Kristen Becker Ritchie. This is the 9th book, and this follows Daisy and Reich's story, and this is a 600-page book. A thick book. This is our 4th one. People illustration on the cover is our 4th prompt. I don't actually have a lot of people illustration on the cover. Oh! Yours truly has people illustration on the cover. I really want to read this book. Would this count as a people illustration? I think it would. I'm not gonna go too far. I'm just gonna pick Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I've been really wanting to get into this book. I don't know much about this book. I just know that they're both main characters are doctors, and the guy suffers from anxiety disorders or just being anxious in general, and they got off on the wrong foot because of an encounter, and the guy ends up sending her a letter to apologize for his behavior and to explain why he acted that way. But that's all I know about this book, and I think it's a part of the same universe as Part of Your World. That's all I know about this, but I really like Abby Jimenez. I love her writing. I think her prose is beautiful, and I think the banter between her characters are amazing. So I'm gonna pick Yours Truly. I'm excited to get into this. I'm finally getting into this. We're gonna pick out our 5th prompt. I think I am gonna be down for like a fantasy related prompt this time around, because we have now 2 fantasy books and 2 romance books. Been on my TBR for more than a year. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember much about the books that have been there for a year. I know for sure 100% We Hunt the Flame has been there for a very long time. I think it's the longest one that's been on my cart. The ones in the middle are for sure newer books, except for this classic, but we're not even going to talk about that. And then the ones in the bottom here, some of them are new, some of them are not, but I don't think they have been there for a year. The one that's the most sure 100% has been there for more than a year is We Hunt the Flame, so I'm gonna pick that book. I've been putting this off for the longest time, and I don't know why, but I recently posted a TikTok of me stating that I've never read this book before, and everyone told me that it's a really good story, that I should try getting into it. I don't know much about it at all. I just know that it's a retelling of, I think, Arabian Nights. I might be wrong too about that, but it's a fantasy world, and I think it's more fantasy than romance, but there is a romance, and I think it's like a slow burn type of romance. It's enemies to lovers. The FMC has to work with the MMC, but the MMC is supposed to kill her after they work together, and you guys can see how old this book is. Like, it's yellowing. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick my 6th prompt now. A shiny cover. This is so good. I put this in specifically because of one book. I've been wanting to read it for a while, and that's Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Look at the shine, look at the glimmer, the glisten in this cover. It's beautiful, it is iridescent, it's lovely, it's amazing. The only work that I've read from Chloe Gong is the These Violent Delights duology. This is technically a spin-off series of that duology. It follows a side character from that duology, and I really like that duology, so I am excited to get into this one. I've heard amazing things about this one. I've heard it's better than the original duology. I really want to read it. It follows Rosa Lind, who is an assassin brought back from the brink of death, but also stopped her from sleeping and aging, and also allows her to heal from any wounds, so she ends up becoming an assassin. I'm excited to get into it, to get into the world again. Let's pick our 7th prompt. What is this? Indie published. I don't have a lot of indie published books. It's very hard for me to get an indie published book here, and so I do not have any. All of these have been traditionally published. You can always adjust this, and I'll add a book that's on my Kindle. My battery died. I had to change it. I do have one book I really want to read. I think this is indie published. I don't really like adding Kindle books into my TBR video because I do want to get through the... And the book I'm gonna pick is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I've yet to do my research, but I think this is indie published, so I'm gonna put it as that. That is the book I'm gonna pick. Let us hope I do end up reading this. I do think that it's gonna be a good book. I've heard great things about this book. I don't know much about it. I just know that it is about dragons who became moons. They rose up to become a moon, and the FMC wants to save her dragons. I might be wrong. I have been reading it. It's just that I put it off for a while because I wanted to get through my physical TBR. We're gonna pick our last prompt, and hopefully this one I will actually have the physical copy. Can you come here? Come here. I'm kind of scared, but I'm also kind of excited. Okay. Oh, do I even have... The prompt is number in the title, and I don't know if I have any book that has a number in the title. I do. I've been putting this book off too. One for My Enemy. 1. As you can see from my bookmark, I was reading this. I don't know why I stopped it. I think it was just not the book at that time. I don't know why I'm scared of getting into this book. It is a fantasy standalone. It's urban fantasy. You follow 2 witch clans who are fighting each other, but there's some sort of Romeo-Juliet romance because it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. I don't know why I am afraid of getting into it, but since the universe is telling me to get into it, I'll get into it. Yeah, I'm gonna pick One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake because this is the only book I'm pretty sure that has the number in the title. Although I'm excited, I'm also very scared. I'm looking at my stack now, and it's a very heavy fantasy stack. And that's our last prompt. I'm going to compile all of these books and show you guys. So I rearranged my cart, and this is my March TBR. We have a variety of options. We have a lot of fantasy and 2 little romance books. I'm a little bit scared, not gonna lie, because the Kindle book is also a fantasy book, but it is more romance heavy, I think. I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited to actually read them. But yeah, that is it for this March TBR. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. Let me know if you guys like this kind of videos, and also which book I should read first in my March TBR, because I am now confused on which book I'm going to start with, because there are a lot of good options in here. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you guys did, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!